Listen. In 2009, somewhere in the world, a mysterious person or maybe a group of people wrote a few lines of code and quietly released it on the internet. No press conference, no investors, no marketing, just code. And today, because of that code, some people are living in mansions, some are driving Lamborghinis. And some have lost every single penny they ever saved. This is not just a story about money. This is the story of the biggest financial revolution in human history. Today I am going to break it all down for you. What is cryptocurrency? How does it actually work? Who created it and why? What are the risks? And most importantly, should you be a part of it? Stay with me till the end because the last part of this video might be the most important financial lesson you ever hear. Let me take you back to the year 2008. The world is collapsing. Banks in America are going bankrupt one by one. Lehman Brothers, one of the biggest banks in the world, files for bankruptcy overnight. Stock markets are crashing. People are losing their homes, their savings, their jobs, and the worst part? The banks themselves caused this disaster. They took enormous risks with people's money, made bad bets, and when everything fell apart, they ran to the government with their hands out, and the government did something that made millions of people furious. It used taxpayer money to save the very banks that destroyed the economy. Normal people suffered. Bankers got bonuses. It was in this exact moment of rage and distrust that someone calling themselves Satoshi Nakamoto published a 9-page document on the internet. This document is known today as the Bitcoin white paper. In it, Satoshi laid out a vision for a new kind of money. Money that no government could print endlessly. Money that no bank could control. Money that people could send to each other directly anywhere in the world without needing anyone's permission. And just a few months later, in January 2009, Satoshi launched Bitcoin. The very first block of Bitcoin, called the Genesis block, contained a hidden message. It was a headline from the Times newspaper that read, "Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks." That was not an accident, that was a statement. Now let us understand what cryptocurrency actually is from the ground up. Normal money, your rupees, your dollars, your euros, exists either as physical cash or as numbers in a bank's computer system. The government decides how much of it exists. Central banks can print more whenever they want, and every time they print more, the value of the money already in your pocket goes down. That is inflation. That is why your grandfather could buy a full meal for 2 rupees and today the same meal costs 500. Cryptocurrency is built to be the opposite of this. It is digital money that exists on a decentralized network. No single person, company, or government owns or controls it. The supply of most cryptocurrencies is fixed and cannot be changed, and it runs on a technology called blockchain, which is the real genius behind all of this. Imagine a notebook. Every time someone sends money to someone else, that transaction gets written in the notebook. Simple enough. Now imagine that instead of one notebook kept in one bank's vault, there are millions of identical copies of that notebook spread across computers all over the world. Every single copy updates at the same time every time a new transaction happens, and here is the key part. To add something to this notebook, more than half of all those millions of computers have to agree that the transaction is real and valid. If even one fake transaction tries to sneak in, the rest of the network immediately rejects it. This is blockchain. It is not one company's server. It is not one government's database. It is a living, breathing, decentralized system that no single entity can shut down, hack, or manipulate. That notebook analogy is essentially how Bitcoin and most other cryptocurrencies work every single second of every day. Now let us talk about something that blows most people's minds when they first hear it. Where does new Bitcoin actually come from? It does not come from a government mint. It does not come from a factory. It comes from a process called mining. Here is how it works. The blockchain network needs computers to verify and confirm all the transactions happening around the world. To do this, computers have to solve extremely complex mathematical puzzles. These puzzles require massive computing power and take real time and energy to solve. The first computer that successfully solves the puzzle gets to add the next block of transactions to the chain, and as a reward, it receives a fixed amount of newly created Bitcoin. This is the only way new Bitcoin enters circulation, and this is incredibly important because it means Bitcoin cannot be created out of thin air like paper money. It has to be earned through real computational work. The total supply of Bitcoin that will ever exist is hard-coded at 21 million coins. Not one more will ever be created. Compare that to the US dollar, where trillions have been printed in just the last few years. Scarcity is built into Bitcoin's DNA, but mining is not easy or cheap. The electricity required to mine Bitcoin is staggering. Entire warehouses filled with thousands of specialized computers running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Many of the biggest mining operations are located in places like Iceland, where geothermal energy is cheap and the cold climate helps cool the machines. Some are in remote parts of Canada, Kazakhstan, and even Texas. This level of energy use has been a major criticism of Bitcoin, and it is a fair debate. Supporters argue that a large portion of mining uses renewable energy. Critics say that until it is all renewable, the environmental cost is too high. This argument is still ongoing, and it is one you should be aware of if you plan to enter this space. Now here is something most people do not know. Once every 4 years, something called a Bitcoin halving happens. This is when the reward that miners get for solving a block is cut in half. When Bitcoin first launched, miners got 50 Bitcoin per block, then it halved to 25, then to 12.5, then 6.25, and in 2024 it halved again to 3.125. Why does this matter? Because it slows down the rate at which new Bitcoin enters the market. Historically, every halving has been followed by a massive bull run in Bitcoin's price. After the 2012 halving, Bitcoin went from around $12 to over $1,000. After the 2016 halving, it eventually reached nearly $20,000. After the 2020 halving, it hit $69,000. Now with the 2024 halving behind us, many people in the crypto world are watching the market very carefully. A lot of people think cryptocurrency means only Bitcoin. That is like saying the internet means only email. Bitcoin was the first and it remains the most well-known, but today there are more than 20,000 different cryptocurrencies in existence, each built for a different purpose. Ethereum changed the game entirely. While Bitcoin is digital money, Ethereum is a programmable blockchain. It allows developers to build entire applications on top of it. These are called decentralized apps or dApps, and the agreements that run these apps automatically without needing lawyers or courts or middlemen are called smart contracts. Imagine buying a house where the ownership is automatically transferred the moment your payment goes through, with no need for a lawyer, no paperwork, no waiting. That is the kind of future Ethereum is building toward. Then there is Solana, which is known for being incredibly fast and cheap to use, making it popular for gaming and NFT applications. There is BNB, which powers the Binance ecosystem. There is XRP, which is designed specifically for fast international money transfers between banks. And yes, there is Dogecoin, which started as a meme in 2013 and became one of the most talked about cryptocurrencies in the world after a few tweets from Elon Musk sent its price flying by thousands of %. Let us talk about something called DeFi, which stands for decentralized finance. This is one of the most exciting and most dangerous corners of the crypto world. DeFi is the idea of rebuilding the entire financial system: banks, loans, savings accounts, insurance, but without any banks or institutions. Using smart contracts on blockchains like Ethereum, people can lend money and earn interest, borrow money by putting up crypto as collateral, trade currencies, and earn rewards, all without a single human intermediary. For people in countries with unstable currencies or limited access to banking, DeFi can be genuinely life-changing. But it also carries enormous risks. There is no customer service. There is no insurance. If something goes wrong or you make a mistake, there is often no way to get your money back. Now let us talk about NFTs, because you have definitely heard this word and probably thought it was ridiculous. NFT stands for non-fungible token. Fungible means something that can be exchanged equally. $1 bill equals another dollar bill. They are fungible. But an NFT is unique. It is a one-of-a-kind digital certificate of ownership recorded on a blockchain. In 2021, people were spending millions of dollars on NFTs of digital art, Twitter profile pictures, and even tweets. A JPEG of a cartoon monkey was selling for more than a luxury car. Was this a bubble? Absolutely. Most of those NFTs are worth close to nothing today. But the underlying technology of verifiable digital ownership has real potential applications in gaming, music, real estate, and digital identity that are still being explored. Let us get into the part everyone wants to know. Should you invest in cryptocurrency? I am not going to sit here and sell you a dream. I am going to give you the complete picture. On the upside, Bitcoin has been the best performing asset of the last decade, outperforming stocks, gold, and real estate by a significant margin. People who bought Bitcoin in 2011 for a few dollars and held on became millionaires. Ethereum has made thousands of early adopters financially free. The technology is genuinely being adopted by major institutions, governments, and Fortune 500 companies. Countries like El Salvador have made Bitcoin legal tender. Major banks like BlackRock and Fidelity now offer Bitcoin investment products. This is no longer a fringe internet experiment. But the risks are just as real. Crypto markets are brutally volatile. Bitcoin dropped 80% from its all-time high in 2018. It dropped another 75% in 2022. Many smaller coins have gone to absolute zero. Billions of dollars have been lost to hacks, scams, rug pulls, and fraud. In 2022, a company called FTX, which was one of the largest crypto exchanges in the world, collapsed overnight in one of the biggest financial frauds in history. Its founder, Sam Bankman-Fried, who was on magazine covers and celebrated as a genius, is now serving a prison sentence. The crypto space is full of innovation. But it is also full of people trying to take your money. If someone promises you guaranteed returns, it is a scam. If a new coin promises to be the next Bitcoin and is being pushed aggressively on social media, be very careful. To store your cryptocurrency safely, you need a crypto wallet. Think of it less like a wallet and more like a key. Your crypto does not actually live in the wallet. It lives on the blockchain. The wallet simply holds the private key that proves you are the owner and gives you the right to move those coins. There are two main types. A hot wallet is connected to the internet. Apps like Trust Wallet, MetaMask, or accounts on exchanges like Binance are hot wallets. They are convenient, but they are vulnerable to hacking. A cold wallet is a physical device that stores your private key completely offline. Brands like Ledger and Trezor make these. They look like USB drives and they are considered the safest way to store large amounts of crypto long-term. The most important rule in all of crypto is this: not your keys, not your coins. If you keep your crypto on an exchange and that exchange gets hacked or goes bankrupt, your money could disappear. Many people learned this the hard way with FTX. Here is something most beginner videos will not tell you. The biggest threat to your crypto is not hackers, it is yourself. People have lost billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin simply because they forgot their password, lost their recovery phrase, or accidentally threw away a hard drive. In 2013, a man named James Howells accidentally discarded a hard drive containing 8,000 Bitcoin. At today's prices, that hard drive would be worth hundreds of millions of dollars. It is sitting in a landfill in Wales and he has been trying to get permission to excavate it ever since. The lesson is brutal but simple. If you get into crypto, treat your private keys and recovery phrases like they are the most important documents you will ever own. Let us also talk about the regulatory side of things because this is changing rapidly. Governments around the world are trying to figure out what to do with cryptocurrency. In the United States, regulators have been cracking down on exchanges and debating how to classify crypto assets. In Europe, new laws are coming into effect to bring crypto under tighter oversight. In Pakistan, the legal status of crypto has been a gray area for years, though discussions around regulation and even potential legalization have been ongoing. In India, crypto is taxed but not banned. China has banned it entirely, but people still find ways to use it. The regulatory landscape is one of the biggest sources of uncertainty in the crypto market, and it is something every investor needs to monitor closely. So after everything we have covered, what is the real takeaway? Cryptocurrency is not magic internet money that will make you rich overnight. It is also not a scam that will steal everything you own. The truth, as always, is somewhere in the middle. It is a genuinely revolutionary technology that is still in its early stages. The blockchain is solving real problems. Decentralized finance is giving financial access to people who never had it. Bitcoin is acting as a store of value for millions of people living under inflationary governments. But it is also a space filled with speculation, manipulation, and real risk. If you decide to participate, do it with education, not emotion. Learn before you buy. Start small, diversify. Never invest money you cannot afford to lose, and be extremely suspicious of anyone who tells you it is guaranteed. The people who will win in this space long term are not the ones who got lucky on a meme coin in 2021. They are the ones who understood the technology, invested consistently, managed their risk, and had the patience to hold through the storms. That requires discipline, that requires knowledge, and that is exactly why you are here. If this video gave you value, hit the like button and subscribe because we are just getting started. In the next video, we are going to go deep on Bitcoin versus Ethereum, which one is the better investment, and what the charts are telling us right now. Drop a comment below and tell me one thing: did you know any of this before watching this video? I read every single comment. Until next time. Stay curious, stay smart, and never stop learning.